everyone! So today I'm going to read 2 Reddit stories, not 4, 2, and they're going to be really good. One is from Creepypasta, and the other, I can't remember where it's from, but I'll let you know. I just usually save them on my phone so that way I can read to you guys. But yeah, welcome back. It's great to see you. I just washed my hair, so don't mind that, and the cat might come into view, Katarina, because she's very intrigued by my computer right now. But anyways, let's get into it. So, so this first story is from Creepypasta, written by Mystic_Rain, 2 days ago, and it's called The Dark Figures. So, one night, it was around 3 a.m. Hold on, I feel like I'm too bright for you guys. Okay, might be a little bit better. Okay. One night, it was around 3 a.m., and I was reading in my bed when suddenly I hear a deep voice whisper to me in my room. I have never experienced anything like this before, and I knew I wasn't hallucinating. I shuffled up quickly and scrambled backwards off my bed, astonished. I looked around. The entire atmosphere of my room suddenly began to change. It started to become dense, and the light softly dampened. It felt like being in a strange fog. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a boy appeared before me, and he was a dark black figure in the midst. His body was transparent and three-dimensional. He had very dark clothes with very dark features, and he looked to be about 7 years old. His face was so dark that you couldn't make it out. He slowly started walking towards me from across the room. I stared, dead, frozen. He continued to walk towards me until he actually walked past me and reached for my door. I took a few steps back. He then placed his hand through the wood of the door and rotated his hand from right to left, and as he did this, he slowly took his other hand and raised it up above his head and materialized a three-dimensional black transparent orb. He then slowly placed it on the floor. Then he stood up and turned to me and put his finger up to what I assume were his lips as a shush sign. He then turned back towards the door and then placed his ear to it as if he was listening for something. Doesn't sound fun. Then the orb started to suddenly float from amidst the fog toward me, and I knew I had to get the hell out of there, but it was blocking the door. So I went into the bathroom and locked it. I waited for a while, then opened the bathroom door again, but slowly, to see if everything was gone. The boy was. The orb had disappeared, but now there was something else there, hanging from the ceiling light above my head. A figure a lot older and heavier. I walked over to it and instantly it recognized it was me, but I was dark and transparent with no face, like the boy's was. I was rotating left and right with the rope around my neck. I looked lifeless. I had mass. I then stumbled backward a few steps, confused, and mumbled something like, "What the hell?" I ran past myself into the living room and grabbed my keys when I felt everything stop. The atmosphere lightened up and everything disappeared. I checked with a flashlight, but there was no sign of anything. I remember just grabbing a bottle of whiskey on the way out, getting the hell out of there, and spending the next week at a relative's house. I never saw anything like it again. I hope I never do. Okay, guys, we're on to the next story. It is from the Paranormal Reddit, and it is by DuskMuse711. It's called "Apparently I Babysat More Than One Kid," and it won Post of the Week last week. Yay! Good job, guys. Good job. When I was 13, I babysat a little girl named Emma, one of the sweetest kids you could think of. I was a regular babysitter for her, so much so that when I couldn't babysit for a few months, she called all her other babysitters by my name. This happened after I came back to be a regular babysitter for her. It was about 10:30 at night. I had already put Emma to bed and had been channel surfing. The house was set up that the front half was open concept that the living room, dining room, and kitchen were side by side. In between the living room and dining room was an open doorway to the back half of the house. At one end was Emma's room. The other end has her parents with the bathroom connected to the parents' room. Now, while sitting on the couch, I heard something run down the hall to the bathroom. Assuming it was just Emma going to the bathroom, I let it be for a few minutes. Then after a few minutes went by and I heard the feet headed back down the hall, I turned to tell her to go back and make sure she flushed, as I hadn't heard it, but I only saw the tips of black hair that had ran past the open doorway. Here's the problem. Emma is blonde. I quickly jumped up and rushed to Emma's bedroom, throwing open the door, her nightlight bright enough to make her out as she sat up and looked at me, rubbing her eyes in confusion. I asked her if she had went to the bathroom when she shook her head. I did a once-over of her room, checking under her bed and a quick peek in her closet. I didn't see anything, and I just told Emma I was double-checking for monsters. I tucked Emma back in, saying goodnight as I headed out of her room again, leaving it slightly open. I began to walk away, but stopped when I hear Emma speak. Thinking she was going to ask me something, I turned to listen, only to hear, "You should have said something. Don't scare her. I really like her." I didn't say anything to the mom about and continued to babysit Emma until they moved away. I always made an effort after that to include the being. If Emma was drawing, an extra spot was set up. It seemed to make Emma happy, and nothing ever startled me again. And that's the end of that story, and the end of today's video. I hope you guys had a fantastic time, and I hope you have a wonderful week. I will decide soon how many posts I'm going to do in a week, but as for right now, I'm just kind of doing it as I go. But if you like these videos, please comment, and subscribe and like if you want to. If you don't, fine. It's up to you, I suppose. No, it really is.